Hi, everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the New Variety Arts Show, coming to you on your public access station. I'm your host for the show, Brad Zinn, and I'd like to welcome you. Hope that you're making our show a regular viewing habit. You know, we show on the Dimension cable system 10:30 on Wednesdays, 10:30 p.m., and therefore we'd like you to make this a regular viewing habit so that Jay Leno will wonder what happened to his audience on Wednesday nights at 10:30 in Phoenix. You know, a lot of people ask, well, what is the New Variety Arts Show, or why do you do this? Well, let me tell you. We like to have on all kinds of variety arts entertainers from clowns, mimes, jugglers, magicians, hypnotists, psychics, you name it. Belly dancers, we've had them here, and we want to give you the opportunity to meet these folks one-on-one, and hopefully the next time you see a variety arts performer live and in person, you'll appreciate what they do just a little bit more. And we'd like you to contact us at this number. As always, the area code. Let us know what you think about the show. If you're watching on a regular basis, we'd like to hear from you. And if you have a variety arts performance coming up, let us know, and we'll try to promote it on the show and get people out to see variety arts performing in a live situation. Also, we'd like to introduce our musical director, as always, back once again, Mr. Van Corentin.
You're right, I've got the habit.
You've got the habit. Well, yes. we want to make sure that those folks watching have the habit as well.
Good.
Yes, and tell everybody where they can come and see you live and in person.
Ah, yes. I can see into the future, and tomorrow I'll be back at the Phoenician playing for afternoon tea.
Afternoon tea.
From 3 to 5 p.m. in the beautiful tea court there.
At the fabulous Phoenician,
right.
Tickling the 88s.
Well, I'm not going to tickle them, but...
You're actually going to depress them.
I get some response, but I don't depress them. No, that's pretty good.
Oh, goodness. Well, your segue here into that is rather clever, because we are going to talk about tea today.
Tea?
Yes, and
we'll get
tea for two, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Right now, we want to remind everybody where they can see some live variety arts entertainment in the future. Flash Covington, our friend that was here and played the saxophone, he also does magic, is at Rawhide. Kenton is at Maryland's Mexican food restaurant. Bob Morgan out at Goldfield Ghost Town in Apache Junction. Gene Urban is at number 10 Downing Street out in Scottsdale. Nice place to go. Kevin Barnes from here is at the Excalibur Hotel in Las Vegas, you know, with the King Arthur and Merlin and the Knights and all that kind of stuff. Jay Malbrough is still at the Adobe Oven in the Ahaha Show, which is kind of a vaudeville review. A lot of fun. And Kim Welsh is at the Hop out in Glendale.
And where will you be materializing?
I was hoping you'd ask. We're going to be at the Phoenix College Auditorium, 1202 West Thomas Road, on Thursday, June 25th, 1992, we should add, at 7:30 p.m. for our World of Illusion Show 92. This benefits the Phoenix Breakfast Civitan Club. Doors open at 7 p.m. that night, and tickets are available at the door. And come on out and enjoy a fun show. It's all magic and illusion, and we're going to cut people in half and three, and we're going to make things disappear and appear. And the money goes to send handicapped children to summer camp.
Wonderful.
Well, let's talk about our guest today, because you were talking about seeing into the future, and you were talking about tea. And our guest today comes to us via Van Corentin. She is a very talented psychic who does tea leaf readings,
among other things. And
she also does astrological charts. And she's written a book on the subject of tea leaves called Take Tea and See. And let's see here. This is the cover. Now, each cover is hand-painted.
Right.
Isn't that beautiful? And this is about Take Tea and See. There we go. This is her experiences about tea leaf reading. Okay. Right. And she also has a newsletter. She also has a newsletter that she puts out called Take Tea and See. These are some various experiences that she's had
and
doing,
what's happening
on tea leaf reading. Her name is Janice Roper, and we're going to go over and meet her, and she has promised to read my fortune today and tell me what lies ahead in the future. I can't wait to meet her. And thanks for referring her. You know, we have a lot of old friends on the show, and then we have some people I've never met before. I've never met Janice, so I'm looking forward to this. And here we go. Follow me. We're going to go meet our guest, Janice Roper. Janice, thanks for being here today.
Thank you. I'm delighted to
well,
be here.
You look very lovely today, and I see you brought your teapot with you and your teacup, so I'm anxious to have this this tea leaf reading. You're originally from the Midwest. We talked about this just briefly before the show. Tell us where you're from and how you first got involved with reading tea leaves. It's a fascinating story.
It is a fascinating story. I am from Kansas City, Missouri, actually a little town near Independence called Sugar Creek, and I had a dress shop called the Strawberry Boutique, and the lady that was working for me was from Ipswich, England, and she was the alteration lady, and every afternoon we would have a cup of tea, and this went on for quite some time, and one day she read my tea leaves, and when she offered to do this, I thought, how could anyone possibly see anything in wet, soggy tea leaves?
Well, that's my first reaction.
Most people do believe that, and
but I hope you're going to clear that up for us today.
She gave me a reading, and it was absolutely perfect. I lost my luggage on my next buying trip, which was predicted in the teacup, and the trip was delayed getting home because of a snowstorm in the Midwest. And so I came off of that airplane. I could hardly wait to get to the shop to see if I could do what she did. Now, I had already been studying astrology and learning the symbols of that language, and so looking in the teacup was a brand new experience for me. But I was so eager to do it, and I believed that if she could do it, I could do it. And that was the attitude that I had when I picked up my first teacup. And it was wonderful because I did see pictures. I wasn't certain what all the pictures meant, but I saw a variety of pictures in the tea leaves, and it's very rewarding to know that it's possible for you to do it too.
Well, so
everyone has psychic ability.
See, I would think most people would believe that this is like a gift. Either you have been struck at birth with some sort of a hidden gift, a talent, or you never are.
Yes, it is a gift, but until you recognize that the gift is there, you don't know it's there. And perhaps some people are more developed at seeing things, seeing abstract pictures than others. But I was able to perceive pictures very easily. And
now, are women better at this than men? Because women tend to see things more in abstract terms.
Women tend to trust their feelings more. And so the study that I went into, a great lengthy study about symbols in the teacup, to find out how the mind works, and was it an intuitive thought, or was it really something that I was making up? That was a struggle that I went through for many, many years, and I practiced on all of the women that came in the cup. So yes, women are probably better at it, only because they do trust their intuition. They do use their feelings a lot more than men who use the logical brain more often. So so is
that what they call right-sided thinking? Is that
yes,
right brain thinking?
You could say that.
Yeah.
But the power is there, and the gift is there, and it's available to all of us.
Now, people who have this ability to read fortunes or see into the future, some people use what are called runes, rune stones, and some people use tarot cards, and some people read palms. Is it all the same gift, and just different people need to use different methods, or is there something that sets tea leaf reading apart from these other forms of fortune telling? I
think that we're all reading energy patterns in a person, and we all have our own energy field, and we carry energy with us. And the fact is, on the day that we're born, the statement that astrology makes is that this person is very special, very unique, because they've been given certain gifts and talents and certain energies that they can use throughout their life. So everyone has energy, and all readers perceive energy or feel it differently. Some people see it, some people hear, some people use tarot cards, and there usually is a focusing point. And
so I guess you'd say that not one method is perhaps better than another. It's just a personal thing with each reader as to what they feel works best for them.
Exactly, what you feel comfortable with. And I find that the gifts that come to you are really your gifts. And that tea leaf reading came to me through the woman that was working with me. So it wasn't something that I went out to look for, to make myself do. It just happened to be right there in front of me. And it was a wonderful experience because it was fun, and in the beginning it seemed like magic And I remember reading for one man. It was the first gentleman that came to the little dress shop to get a reading. Every time a woman would buy a dress, I'd give them a tea leaf reading. So that was an incentive to promote the sales in the other. Because quickly I was getting more customers for the tea leaves than I was for the dresses, so I had a dilemma.
So it probably didn't take you long to see the light come on and say, well, maybe this is what I ought to be doing.
That's correct. But the first gentleman that came to the store, he had a big legal-size notepad, and I was very concerned about he was really going to take this serious, and this had all just been very light, easy, and happy up until this moment. And then I began to perspire, but I poured the cup of tea and asked him to think about a question. And I saw lots of people, lots of faces in the cup, and I began to describe all of them. Some were cowboys, some were Indians. The story went on. There were a lot of faces. And then I saw the state of California and the initial M, and a red-headed Virgo lady that was going to call him and invite him to come to California. Well, as I was seeing this in the cup, he was writing, and I stopped talking, and he was still writing, and I wondered what this man was writing. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I went back and said that he would be very successful living in California. So I put the teacup down, and he said, "Excuse me, let me finish this." And he said, "You have just given me the last chapter to my book. I had writer's block, and I couldn't get beyond this point." And all of the characters that I had seen in the cup were from his book, and the thoughts started coming, and he was able to write chapter 19.
How about that?
And then he said, "You'll never..."
His name wasn't Stephen King, by the way, was it?
No, it was Fred Putnam, actually.
Oh, okay.
Fred Putnam. And he did say that other part of the reading, it will never happen, never happen. He said...
so what eventually did happen?
He was called to go to California to interview for the Hollywood Squares show, and he was hired as a writer for Hollywood Squares.
With Peter Marshall and...
Brad Marks Productions.
Brad
yes.
Marks Productions,
Exactly.
but Peter Marshall was the host.
Exactly.
And
That's
Paul
the one. That's the one.
Center Square,
And
Alta Block.
when he found out who the telephone call came from, it was Brad Marks' wife, who was the red-headed Virgo woman that I had seen in the cup.
Incredible. Well, now let's talk a little bit here, because you come from the Midwest, specifically...
Sugar Creek, Missouri.
Sugar Creek, Missouri, which is near...
It's population 5,000, and it's near Kansas City, 18 miles east of Kansas City.
5,000 people. There's 40,000 people at ASU.
I want to tell you that my father was the mayor of this little town for 40 years. So when I was reading tea leaves, it was in the back room of the dress shop.
That's like being the preacher's daughter.
It was very tough, yes.
Yes. Well, you see, the reason I mention this is because my relatives all come from the Topeka, Kansas area, and my uncle was mayor of Topeka, Kansas in 1969 and 1970, so we have a lot in common here already. But what I wanted to get at here was this is a very strong Bible Belt area, the Midwest. How in the world did your family react? I mean, we have a little clue here because of what you just told us. But how did they react to the fact that you were reading tea leaves?
Oh, they kind of chuckled, the people my friends. I had a lot of friends in this little town. But there were people that just kind of frowned on it because of their, quote, religious background. And I had no problem with the religion. I mean, I was born and raised a Catholic, and continued on going to church and services as I always did. So I couldn't ever see the conflict that people saw in it. So finally, and I have also been blessed by the born-again Christians in Texas, and I've had this question asked to me many, many times. But I believe that tea leaves it's another way to get to know yourself. And you can't be a good Christian just going to 1 hour of services on Sunday. You have to be able to profess that faith and to be that person that you really are. And the more that you know about who you are, the more that you understand the unconscious. So
this is a self-realization exercise, is what you're saying, and it doesn't really conflict with whatever your religious beliefs may be.
Not at all.
In the supernatural or the spiritual. Well, the show is progressing along, and you have promised now to do a little reading for me, and I think maybe we ought to do that. Real quick, while you're doing this, what can people expect to learn from your book, Take Tea and See, briefly, and then I want you to explain the process of what we're doing here, because I've never had a tea leaf reading done before.
The book was written in response to hundreds of questions that I was asked over and over again. So I decided to write the book. Just how can I do what you do? How do you make the tea? This is an ordinary teapot that I selected because it feels good to me, and I like the shape of the teapot. But the magic is what you put into it. You, the person that's going to drink the tea. So when they read the book, they're going to be given a lot of hope that they can trust their feelings, that they can trust their own knowingness, and it will develop, it will open up their own psychic abilities.
So somebody that read your book then could do this. Is that right? They'd get instruction on how to do this?
Yes, they would begin to do this.
Okay, well, let's begin to do this here. Now, you tell me what you're doing.
Usually we have a spoon and we stir, but for the TV program today, we didn't bring it.
Just kind of swirl that up a little bit.
We have to have the tea leaves. I have used 2 Lipton tea bags that I broke open. So this is your cup of tea, and you see the tea?
Yes. Okay. Now there's a lot of the tea leaves and sediment in the bottom of the cup.
The sediment is your good fortune. The cup, the leaves are going. I'm going to ask you to think about a question that you would like your tea leaves to talk about.
Okay.
Drink the tea and leave just a little bit of liquid in the bottom of the cup.
Okay. You don't want me to drink the tea leaves.
No, don't drink the tea leaves.
Because I wasn't going to anyway.
That's your future.
Okay, may I do that now?
Okay, you can begin to drink.
Now, it's not too terribly warm. It's very good tasting tea.
It's good tasting. It's blackberry. Now, one of the questions I'm always asked is, can I use herb teas? You may use herb teas, but they have flowers and stems, and it's very difficult to see the pictures. And what we're really looking for are symbols from your own unconscious, from your own subconscious mind.
How is more? Do I need to drink more?
A little more.
A little more. We're getting dangerously close to the leaves here, Van.
As you drink this tea, you're asking the teacup the question. A little more.
A little more. Oh, boy.
Almost all of it, but leave some movement in the leaves. Perfect.
Okay.
Now I want you to take the cup like this 3 times around your saucer.
1, 2, 3.
Think of your question again.
Okay.
And turn the cup upside down.
Oh, and turn the cup upside down. All right, I'm going to turn it toward you.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
See, I didn't know that. All right, now we'll stay right here, a nice close shot, and we're going to, now what do you see when you lift the cup?
First thing we do is look in the saucer and see the leaves that came out of the saucer are things that you have just been working with. And here
you can keep your hand down, just your thumb down just a little bit so we can see. Okay, go ahead.
All right. There have been 2 opportunities for employment for you, so there must be something else that you're doing. I don't know you, Mr.
No, we have nothing
Zen.
prearranged,
So,
and Janice really does not know.
And I'm seeing some good luck with an interview or contact that you have recently made, but it hasn't come through for you yet. So you're kind of like waiting to see.
Okay.
And this is a potential. A lot of financial gain is going to come to you through this contact when it's like you have to have 3 meetings with the people. Perhaps an initial Z, well, you're the Z and a G, an initial G.
And a G.
And a G will be very important for you. Now, this is saying to me, as the cup shows me the future. This has already happened, so you know about the financial opportunities, and this cup is saying to me that it's showing me the month of July, and I actually believe I'm seeing July the 11th as a very significant week. There will be a week of meetings and perhaps more work. You're going to be very, very busy, and so you have to have a very tight calendar schedule and stay with it.
In July?
In July, yes.
Okay.
And then later, do you have a great big dog at home, like a Labrador or a...
Not a great big dog. I have 2 Cocker Spaniels.
Well, dogs are symbolic of friends.
Okay.
So I'll take this to be then a friend, and perhaps that's describing his stature. I believe that it's a
large dog?
Large. Well, the dog is a friend.
Okay.
A friend.
Okay. Well, I have a friend that, I don't want to say his name, but I mean, could possibly fall into this description? I mean, if you're talking symbolically.
I am.
Okay.
And so you know who that is. You see that leaves will talk to you in your language because it's your cup of tea and they are your symbols, not mine. So they're talking about that man in particular, the large man, and I'm getting in 9 weeks from today that there'll be an agreement, or he has a contact for you, an agreement. Perhaps I'm getting an initial B, like perhaps that's his name, or the name of a company that he's going to introduce you to, because your question was about the future, and there might be a family business developing here, or some corporate monies coming in through a family business.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Which will be very, very successful. You will have to slow down. Sometimes you want to push forward and get things going like this on your terms, and it's not going to be that way. Astrologically, I had a minute to look at your chart, and your cup shows me, I guess I should show the audience here.
Okay.
You see this deep, heavy set of leaves?
Okay, right about here. Okay.
This deep, heavy section of leaves shows a concentrated power. It's like you're trying to force an issue to happen before it's time. So then at a time like this, when I see there could be a conflict between you and the powers that be, that we have to consult the astrology chart to see when the timing would be better, right, so that you don't get all anxious and uptight. Okay. So the big warning there about trying to force things before they're ready.
Well, Janice, I've been waiting 17 years, so after a while you get a little impatient, you know, and you want things to... That's fascinating. Now, you have you've done hundreds of these readings, perhaps thousands of them.
I have thousands of readings.
Can you tell us in about 30 seconds or 45 seconds about how this got you started in real estate, real quick, okay?
Oh, in real estate.
Because we have about 30 seconds, because we want to talk about astrology.
I was asked to come to read it for the $1 Million Producers Club at at Merrill Lynch. And they wanted me to demonstrate what I was going to do, so I went to the manager's office with the teapot, just like this. I looked in the cup and told him that the company was going to be bought out. And he became so excited and nervous. At the same time, I said, this tornado is coming through this office, and sweeping changes are going to happen, and you're going to be the man on top. Well, 3 years later, I meet this gentleman again, and he was now the head of Prudential. He bought all 7 offices. Prudential bought out Merrill Lynch, and he remembered his teacup reading. He said, if I was going to surface and be the man on top, then I would have to buy all of the offices. And so it actually happened. It came true just the way you had told him in the teacup, and that's how you got started in real estate. And you
worked for Prudential Real Estate. That's right, the Biltmore office. Now let's talk about astrology here. You did my chart.
I did your chart.
Now this is a lot of people read this column in the daily paper, and they get, you know, like, don't go out today, or money will come your way, and it's very general. But astrology is actually very specific. Is that right? Very specific. We have about 3 minutes here. Okay, so we want you to explain what you see in my future on the astrological chart. For one thing, you have to know that your rising sign to have an accurate chart, and that's based on the time of day that you're born. I was born at 2:38 a.m. on December 15th, 1957. That makes me a Sagittarius. I know that. But you have Libra rising, so you should really be reading Libra in the Sidney Omar's See, now that's what's very confusing about astrology. You should read Libra because your chart begins with an ascendant in Libra. And you're and also look at your chart, even though you don't know anything about it. These are the planets, and they are on the eastern side of the chart, and that's the side that says, I know what I'm going to do, and I'll take charge. And that's part of that drive and ambition, ambitious nature that you have. And you see the western half of the chart. Pretty barren over there. Pretty bare. This is the partner. She has to be a pretty cooperative lady here to fill this in, or you're going to feel like you can't have. You're not using all of your energy the way you would like to. So although Libra says you like to compromise and you have a wonderful personality,
in 18 months from now, the planet Jupiter is going to come across the horizon, and it's going to give you many opportunities to come before the public and also to do some writing on your own, perhaps, or publishing. You'll be working with foreigners, and Jupiter rules foreign countries, and it rules education, so you may become involved with some type of school or educate as an educator. The planet Pluto is going through your money house, and that sometimes doesn't feel too comfortable.
Pluto is going through my money house, Van.
That's
no
right.
wonder I'm broke all the time.
Exactly.
The dog is getting away with all of it.
But it was
Well-
Pluto.
Pluto is sometimes not too kind, but it is trying to show you that you can increase your income by looking at things differently, and perhaps I would say getting into something that would bring you a greater audience. Pluto rules the masses of people. So that's very exciting and very, very
Well, we'd
powerful.
like to get to know the masses of people out there. So.
Yes, I'm sure that you would. But you're wonderful in communication. The third house rules communication, and you are in the media, and that's where your sun is, and that's where you shine.
My sun sign is in the third house. Now, what is the third
Third
house?
house is the house of communication. And
House of communication, but it doesn't relate to Scorpio or Libra or
well,
something like
there's
that.
a lot to astrology. I'm giving you a 3-minute forecast
Oh, okay.
here.
I'm
so,
sorry. I put you in a bad position here. Maybe we can sit down and talk about this.
But astrology,
in-depth.
you would benefit through astrology in your career, because the ruler of astrology is here in the 10th house, and that's career. That is your career house. So you are one person that would really benefit from this. And you're always meant to have your own, be your own person. That is, even if you had a business partner, it would be like you would be an independent contractor. You'd have to do your own thing. The chart says that over and over again in many ways. So you can have the backing of friends or the backing of people, but as long as you're given full reign to be who you are.
Now, I want to ask you, because you had mentioned to me over the phone something about astrology being used in conjunction with psychology and psychiatry. Very briefly, tell me about this conference you just came from, and then we're going to have
There
to
was a
wrap it
conference
up.
in San Francisco with the psychologists and the psychics, and it was the first one that was held there, and there were probably about 500 people. And in the future, psychologists are going to use an astrology chart to get to the very basis of the problem.
So this is, besides Sigmund Freud now, we're going to have Sidney Omar, and
we're going to have astrology as being a very, very important
being
place.
a part of helping correct psychological, psychiatric disorders.
I counsel a lot of doctors, and I've had them watch me do my work, and they say that I can get to the basis of the problem in 1 hour, where it would take them 9 months to do what I do.
That's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Janice Roper, the author of Take T and C, an astrologer and a tea leaf reader. I want to thank you.
And a realtor.
And a realtor, and I want to thank you for taking time to come and be here. We're out of tape, we're out of time. Roll the credits. Support variety arts in your community. We'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for coming.